Jan Martel's Life of Pi is a story filled with intense imagination that is easily confused with reality, that tells a tale ridden with suffering from our main character, Pi. The novel starts with lots of backstories into Pi's childhood, where there are two very strong factors in his life: animals, as his father owns a zoo, and religion. He explores many different religions in his young life and is fascinated by the different yet similar philosophies of them all. As the intensity of the story picks up and Pi ends up stranded on a lifeboat with vicious animals, he continues using religion as a coping mechanism for his suffering. Therefore, religion is one of the strongest themes in the novel. The relevant theme of religion in Jan Martel's Life of Pi has many societal influences in it from Buddhism and the author's personal views. How religion helped Pi. Pi's contradictions. When Pi is young, he decides to explore beyond his family's religious beliefs of Hinduism and study Catholicism and Islam. This notion of taking part in multiple religions is not an accepted concept by most people associated with the religions. Each religion believes that their philosophies are correct and do not like to differ much from their set beliefs. Pi clearly contradicts this, and he knows that it will not be accepted, so he hides it for as long as he can until it all comes to an end when the priest, imam, and pandit all confront him in front of his family, forcing him to choose one. Although this notion of exploring multiple religions at once may not be accepted, I believe that it is enviable, as it shows Pi's openness and curiosity, two very good traits. Many people stay in the same religion for their whole life and do not even bother learning about other ones. If they did, they would find many contradictions between the two, but also many similarities, both of which would be scary. If you are living your whole life going by a single set of beliefs and dismissing all others, then finding out that other religions believe the same things can cause you to question how you have been living this whole time. Another contradiction that Pi has in his character is that he claims to hate agnostics, which is a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or of anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. He hates this, yet he does not truly assign himself to one religion. "What is your son doing going to temple?" asked the priest. "Your son was seen in church crossing himself," said the imam. "Your son has gone Muslim," said the pandit. How Pi used religion. Pi's childhood curiosity links to him having a very strong faith in his adult life, which transfers into how he handles the great deal of stress while stranded on the lifeboat. This is very evident when he lists his daily activities and reveals that in every part of his day, he makes sure to add in some prayers. In such a sufferable, hopeless situation, he finds hope in God and his faith, which definitely helps him get through it all. Life of Pi and Buddhism. Pi's life can be linked very well to Buddhism for many reasons, specifically in his ideals relating to suffering. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism can be applied to the novel, and it is evident how Pi's suffering evolves in a similar way throughout his journey. Firstly, the truth of suffering, dukkha, states that we all suffer, life is not ideal, and we get bored by good things in our life. This is linked to Pi as he grew up in a very privileged environment, and he is often annoyed by his family in his childhood. However, once Pi is on the lifeboat and starts suffering a lot more, he longs for his family. Pi took his privileged upbringing for granted, similarly to how the Buddha says that we get bored of the good things in life. Pi expresses his longing for his family when he says, "To lose your father is to lose the one whose guidance and help you seek, who supports you like a tree trunk supports its branches. To lose your mother, well, that is like losing the sun above you," from page 70. Secondly, the truth of the origin of suffering, samudaya, states that we suffer because we desire, we are ignorant and delirious, and we have hateful and destructive urges. Pi acts on these negative urges when he killed the chef. However, Pi does reflect on his actions, which is shown when he is recounting the human version of his story, and he says, "Why do we cling to our evil ways?" from page 172. The truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha, states that in order to free oneself of suffering, we need to extinguish desire. At first, Pi is only thinking about his own personal survival, but roughly halfway through, he shifts some energy into caring for Richard Parker. That is when Pi stops being selfish and his suffering starts to decrease as he is less focused on his own desires. Finally, the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, Megha, states that to extinguish desire, you need to follow the Eightfold Path. When Pi left the island, he did not talk much about his suffering anymore, because he had extinguished some of his desire and sort of felt numb. This is shown because in the time between leaving the island and arriving in Mexico, he only wrote 7 sentences. As Life of Pi has such a strong religious theme, the author, Yann Martel, was asked about his views on religion, to which he shares many of the same beliefs as Pi. He considers himself to be religious in a very broad sense, as he does not simply believe that the whole world and universe was just created from happenstance and chemistry. He exclaims that having faith and believing in there being reasons for why we exist, as we do, is more interesting. He also states that in the Western technological society, it is very difficult to have strong faith, but after a while, he came to terms with what he had written in the novel. Out of all the novels I have read as part of an English course, I found that this is the most enjoyable one yet. The short chapters along with the high level of writing made it interesting and easy to read, which in my opinion is a hard combination to obtain. I enjoyed the story and how it made you question what is real and what is not, even after finished reading. Finally, it is very important to me that a novel has real-life relevance in our current society, as it makes a lot more interesting, and Life of Pi does just that. Now for some discussion questions. Number 1. Throughout the novel, belief and faith are 2 constant themes. How are they different, and how does Pi use them as tools to help him survive? Number 2. From what we now know about Buddhism, do you think Pi's journey would have been any different if he also practiced Buddhism along with the other religions? Finally, how would the novel be written differently if Yann Martel had been very religious in a specific religion? All in all, Life of Pi by Yann Martel has managed to make an actual impact on my way of thinking in our current society, specifically to do with the theme of religion. Thank you for listening.